The Arizona Cardinals can 100% turn around the trajectory of all storylines surrounding Kliff Kingsbury starting tonight.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Locked On Cardinals Monday Night Football and potentially the shifting of Kliff Kingsbury's legacy. I'm Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen each and every day, free and available on all platforms. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less in their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. That's prizepicks.com, promo code Locked On. So, Kyler Murray out. Colt McCoy in for the second straight week. Colt McCoy, for those who don't remember, beat the San Francisco 49ers on the road last year. This is technically on the road, even though it's a home game. There's a lot of interesting things to discuss about this game. I will reiterate the 3 things that the Cardinals need to do if they want to win tonight in Mexico City, under the bright lights, with everybody watching and wondering a couple different things. 1, are the 49ers Super Bowl contenders? And 2, are the Cardinals going to crumble? Because it's still a very, very fragile ecosystem. As I've said since 2017, the Arizona Cardinals are an elephant walking on a sheet of ice. We just never know how thin or thick that block of ice is. Where it's stable, they start 7-0 and 10-2 last year, or it's razor thin, like we've seen at times this season, where everything could potentially crumble at any moment. We don't know which side, how thick this ice is for the Cardinals going into Week 11. We just don't know. We've seen flashes of greatness. We've seen flashes of not so greatness. We've seen flashes of what this team could potentially look like on the offensive side of the ball, but sparingly this season. We've seen the doldrums of why is this team only good on paper? And it's been frustrating. It's been fascinating. It's been exciting. And it really does come to a head tonight where even though Kyler Murray is going to be out, this could be the first game in the rest of Kliff Kingsbury's career where if the Cardinals win tonight, that means they will have gone 2-1 against the 3 division opponents, Seattle, Rams, 49ers. 2 of them without Kyler Murray. And then Kliff Kingsbury will start the second half of the 2022 NFL season with a win. And we talk about it jokingly, we talk about it sinisterly. You know, it's something that is always needs to be discussed, is that Kliff Kingsbury's second halves have been terrible for the entirety of his coaching career. Everybody's seen the stat screenshot at this point with his win-loss record, the first half of seasons and the second half. Kliff Kingsbury is the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals still. So crazier things have happened than Kliff Kingsbury, the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, completely flipping the script on his entire history as a head coach. And I've been one of Kliff's harshest critics. I think he's holding Kyler Murray back. I think that he's not equipped to be an NFL head coach, and I think the talent that the Cardinals have goes only so far as the talent that the Arizona Cardinals have, and they're not being elevated to the level that the defensive players are with Vance Joseph leading the charge over there. I still believe that. And I want to be proven wrong. And I want to see something we've never seen before. And I want Kliff Kingsbury to succeed as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals for so many different reasons. Not only for the longevity of the success of this team, like we've seen in spurts over the last handful of years, but I want State Farm Stadium to not only be a hotbed for well-drafted players and young players, but also a destination place for free agents, a destination place for players under the age of 35 who went to school here, who got cut midway through the season after signing a 1-year, $7 million deal and then going to Kansas City and winning a Super Bowl, Terrell Suggs. I want this to be a place where younger players looking for a contract or veteran players who still have a lot to give to want to go play in Arizona. It makes everything better, easier. Instead of always having to trade for players. Instead of, I want players to choose Arizona. And one of the massive pillars that needs to be strong enough to hold up this organization is Kliff Kingsbury being a good head coach when he's the head coach of the Cardinals. And tonight is a perfect night to prove everybody wrong and getting a win, moving to 5-6, and at least solidifying themselves as having a chance to win the NFC West. If you put the Cardinals versus the Seahawks, when the Cardinals are fully healthy, in 100 matchups, the Cardinals will win 65 of them. They played bad offensively, didn't have Hopkins the first week, didn't have Hollywood Brown the second. We haven't realized what this offense's full potential is because Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins haven't been on the field yet with Kyler Murray. Haven't all been on the field. So the fact that the Cardinals have a potential, they have the potential to play a game on a neutral field against a team that's better than them right now is currently constructed because Kyler Murray's not playing. Hollywood Brown's not playing. Rodney Hudson's not playing. I feel like it being on a neutral field gives the Cardinals more of an advantage because there's the no idea knows what the hell is going to happen element to it. And if Kliff Kingsbury can leverage the talent that he has on the field who are healthy and get a W to not only put into question the San Francisco 49ers' strength on the field, even though their roster is fantastic, and not only strengthen or begin his legacy as a head coach of the Arizona Cardinals in a positive way, this 2022 NFL season could be vastly different than what we've seen for large chunks so far up until this point. What does it mean with Colt McCoy starting? What are the three things the Arizona Cardinals need to do? I'm going to discuss both of those as we roll on here on a Monday edition of Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. I will be doing my halftime show per usual tonight. At halftime of the game, I'll be doing my live post-game show afterwards. You'll want to lock and load and be ready to roll because if the Cardinals can get a W tonight, the entire season changes. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. First, though, I get to talk to you about our sponsor for today's podcast, and that is Total Wine. This holiday season, find what you love at Total Wine and More. I go to Total Wine. It's awesome. It's like Disneyland for wine and more. With so many great bottles to choose from, it's easy to find a new favorite Cabernet or Chardonnay or the perfect gifts for everyone on your list with some help from a friendly guide. And all with the confidence of knowing you found something special for the lowest price. Love what you find. Only at Total Wine and More. Curbside pickup and delivery available in most areas. Visit TotalWine.com to learn more. Drink responsibly. Be 21. And also, I love this company. I used this company before they became a loving sponsor of the Locked On Podcast Network, Turo. Okay, if you don't know about Turo, look it up and listen to me for the next 45 seconds or so. Turo is the world's largest car sharing marketplace. With Turo, you can book any car you want, wherever you want it, from a community of local hosts across the US, UK, Canada, and coming soon to Australia. Forget boring rental cars and find your drive at Turo.com. And what it means, you browse a huge selection of vehicles for just about any occasion or budget. You can download the app. You can go online. You search your zip code, and you're like, hey, oh man, I can get a Ford Focus here. I can get a Villager over here. Do they make Villagers anymore? I can get a Chrysler Town and Country. I can get a truck. I can get a Maserati 10 miles away. And there's different prices for different cars. And you just, it is magical. Okay. Think of it as like Airbnb, but for cars. It's fantastic. Every trip is backed by liability insurance. Terms and conditions and exclusions apply. Again, forget boring rental cars. and find your drive at Turo.com. Kliff Kingsbury could begin a start of the rest of his NFL coaching career tonight. And I don't think that that's outlandish. I don't think it's sensationalizing the importance of this game, because 4-7 and 5-6 are vastly different than 3-5 and 4-4, like I discussed when they were going into Minnesota. 4-7 is almost an insurmountable record to overcome. It's done, especially with the 7th playoff spot added. But I mean, the Cardinals' schedule doesn't get easier. They've got some middling teams after the bye. You know, they've got the Patriots and they've got the Falcons. They do play the 49ers in the finale of the 2022 season. And they have the Chargers coming into town next week. So it's not going to get any easier. Their bye week can't come soon enough. But if they can get a win tonight, and this isn't like a moral victory, if they lose by a field goal at the end of the game, at this point, it's still a loss. It's not like, oh man, well, it's week 3. They lost to a team that had more talent and the Cardinals were hurt. Those storylines are over. They're over. And this is how deep rosters sustain injuries throughout the year. And having a week 13 bye week is tough, especially with injuries. It's very tough because 65% of the season is already over. If the Cardinals win tonight, Kliff Kingsbury will have his first important win as a head coach in the NFL. And I've gone back and forth with people about this. Well, every win in the NFL is important. Stop. Okay? Every win is important. Okay, I understand that. When the Cardinals have had their back up against the wall, Kliff Kingsbury has not led his team to a win. When they absolutely had to win the game, he's over. He's over. They couldn't clinch a playoff spot last year on their own. Sean McVay had to do it for him. That could start to be dissipated. It could start the dilution process of that by getting a victory on the road, even though it's home in Mexico City tonight. It could start tonight. He has the opportunity to make it happen tonight, regardless of who's on the field for the team. Coaches have won with a lot less than who the Cardinals are rolling out on offense tonight. Colt McCoy starting 2nd week in a row. Cool. No harm, no foul. Is he Kyler Murray? Absolutely not. But he's the best backup in the NFL. So you're going to have DeAndre Hopkins. You're going to have Rondale Moore. You're going to have Greg Dortch. You're going to have James Conner. You're going to have Corey Clement because, the Cardinals decided to cut, Benjamin after a fight with an assistant coach. I'm fascinated to see Hard Knocks in season, the episode coming up on Wednesday that will highlight it in some capacity. I'm fascinated. They're going to have plenty. Zach Ertz out for the year. Trey McBride, you're up, kid. You're up. I will be watching Trey McBride tonight. If Trey McBride has 2 catches for 9 yards and Drake Jackson, the edge rusher that the Cardinals could have drafted in the 2nd round, which was a position of need, balls out, I'm not going to be kind to Steve Keim tonight. I will not be. But with Colt McCoy starting and Kyler Murray on the shelf, whatever. Let it rip. Like, this isn't Kyler to Trace McSorley. And Trace McSorley was the belle of the ball. He was one of the best storylines during the preseason because, he played well. And he seemed to fit more into this scheme than Colt McCoy does. But if Kliff Kingsbury puts together pretty much rinse and repeat the same game plan from last week, hopefully with some wrinkles because, this defense is deeper, younger, faster, stronger than the Rams defense. Who knows? The Cardinals need to put up 24, 27 points tonight to win. They have to. This can't be a 13-9 game. The Cardinals aren't going to win games like that. The defense, remember, isn't built to win games for this team. It's built to tread water, set the table, and allow the offense to eat. That's what this defense is built for. And it's important to remember that as we get into the trenches of the 2022 season, right in the middle where it's like nobody's going to be healthy. No teams are going to be healthy. And the defense is going to need to withstand the rigors and keep this offense in games. So hopefully they'll be able to put up 25 plus points every game for the rest of the year, regardless of who the quarterback is. There is zero excuse with the offensive weapons that the Cardinals have, even with Hollywood Brown on the shelf right now, that they shouldn't be putting up 24, 25 points a game. There's just not. So with Colt McCoy under center, shotgun, stable, okay? The stability factor is there with the backup. You're going to be able to get the ball out quickly like he did last week. Rondale Moore, Greg Dortch, I call them Teslas, 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. It doesn't matter if they're catching the ball 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. Any catch and run could be a chunk gain. The one thing that needs to be removed, and it won't be because we've been talking about this for 4 years, one thing that needs to be removed is the behind the line of scrimmage pass, any pass on first down that goes from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 11. And it's like, well, what are you going to do the rest of the play? What, are you going to run on 2nd down? No. And that's how 3 and outs start. 45 seconds, defense back on the field. It's got to be moved down the field. And Colt McCoy has the ability to do it. He made every throw. He made every throw last week. The throw to Rondale Moore, which is a terrible play call, but it ended up working. The A.J. Green back left corner end zone touchdown passing catch. And then he threw all of the short and intermediate passes in the route tree. So Colt McCoy is going to be fine. It's going to be A-okay. And I think that we're going to find out a lot about a lot of people tonight. And with it being in Mexico City, Colt McCoy's experience is going to come in massively. I'm never going to say, ever. I mean, unless something catastrophic happens or unless, Kyler Murray forgets how to play football. I'm never going to say Colt McCoy is a better option than Kyler Murray. Ever. It's not the conversation, man and lady. It's not the conversation. But his experience, his extensive experience in the NFL will lend to be a very positive thing for the Cardinals and a calming factor tonight against the 49ers in a game where a win could propel them to a situation that we never thought could happen through the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. What are the 3 things the Cardinals need to do to win tonight? I'll talk about it. I'll give my score prediction next. Locked On Cardinals. Prize Picks. So Prize Picks is awesome. If I can say that. If I'm allowed to say that. Prize Picks makes daily fantasy super easy. Okay? All you do is you pick 2 to 5 players, and if they'll go score more or less than their Prize Pick projection, and you can win 10 times your money on any entry. No competing against other players. It's just you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport you watch. NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball when it's in season, NHL, PGA, college football, men's college basketball, women's college basketball, soccer, WNBA, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Safe and fast withdrawals. Currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, Prize Picks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, Prize Picks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. Just a fascinating matchup tonight. Alex Clancy, follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On Easy Cards. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. I'll be doing halftime show on YouTube and Twitter Spaces and just on YouTube for the post-game show. Colt McCoy, you have confidence in Colt McCoy at this point. A good backup can win you a couple games in a row. He did it last year. Even remember, they got obliterated by Carolina at home. So it's not a backup is a backup for a reason, but a backup can definitely win in a vacuum a couple games in a row, and hopefully Colt McCoy will be able to execute that for the Cardinals tonight. 3 things the Cardinals need to do. 1, get to Jimmy G. Get in his kitchen, rattle him up. He'll throw interceptions. He'll put the ball on the ground. If it's going to be Myjai Sanders and Cam Thomas leading the charge on the outside, and you're going to have Zach Allen and J.J. Watt blow up the middle of this really good offensive line would be fantastic because the opportunistic nature that the Cardinals can exude when given the opportunity on defense can be on full display tonight if the pass rush can get home. If the pass rush, whether it be blitz packages or just a traditional pass rush, if the Cardinals can get home and rattle Jimmy G, he will turn the ball over. He will turn the ball over. And in a situation like this, where the Cardinals are without a couple of their best players, it's paramount that the pass rush gets there. It is. Number 2, same game plan as last week offensively. Eat clock. Cardinals were on the field for almost 35 minutes last night. If you can stay on the field and get this San Francisco 49ers offense out of rhythm, you're going to be in a much better spot than if they lead the charge. Like, same DeAndre Hopkins, 12 targets. Doesn't matter. Rondale Moore, get him in space. Utilize Greg Dortch and AJ Green. Utilize all your weapons. Like, the ideal scenario is that the Cardinals can run the ball effectively tonight. That's the ideal scenario. Chunk gains, James Conner, 4 or 5 yards a carry, set up the play action, use the tempo that the Cardinals have used to be able to win games and not just have to rely on broken plays like we've seen sometimes this season. But utilize a game plan from last week, and the Cardinals can get a W tonight for sure. Keep Colt McCoy in his comfort zone. Use the extremely talented wide receivers the Cardinals have, and eat some damn clock. And then number 3, which goes in line with number 1, is just get the 49ers out of their rhythm, out of their offensive rhythm. Because if they're in rhythm, the Cardinals pass rush doesn't get there. If Christian McCaffrey decides to, because Christian McCaffrey just punishes the Cardinals, regardless of uniform. He punished the Cardinals every time he's played them in Carolina. He was out, I believe, when the Cardinals lost in Carolina in 2020, when Budda Baker was out. The Cardinals were playing against Teddy Bridgewater and Mike Davis. But anytime Christian McCaffrey plays, it's just, it's nightmare fuel for the Cardinals. But if they can get to Jimmy Garoppolo, if they can get this offense out of its rhythm, if the run defense can stop Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey, potentially the best 1-2 duo in the NFL, just purely running the ball. And if you make Jimmy Garoppolo a passer, if you can get the pass rush there, if you can, just the metronome of the 49ers offense when in synchronicity and when things are working, setting up the play action, getting Deebo Samuel involved effectively, not forgetting about George Kittle, this offense could be scary, but it's more in a vacuum offense. If the Cardinals can kind of get them off that pendulum of just normalcy and flow on the offensive side of the ball, Cardinals can win tonight. I'm not going to give a prediction. I just want to see it happen. I want to see Kliff Kingsbury take what's his. Be proactive and not reactionary. Go get a damn win and save the season. Alex Nancy, Locked On Cardinals. I'll talk to you at halftime.